I'm Jess.
I'm Kim.
And this is Everyday Understanding.
Breaking it down.
And making it simple. And today we want to talk to you about a couple of big terms, and we're going to break them down and make them simple. And what would that be?
We're going to talk about macronutrients.
Macros. You hear this in the keto. You hear about keto and you hear about macros. And people are like, what's a macro?
Yeah. So
Macro's big. Micro is tiny.
Yes. So we have these things in our diet that we eat that are the macronutrients, like you said, are the big ones. And we have three of them, just three: fats, proteins, carbohydrates. Oh my.
Those are the macronutrients. Micronutrients are the vitamins and the minerals. Back to the big stuff.
We're going to talk about fats, because that's keto's all about the healthy fats. So what are fats really? They are called fatty acids or lipids. You might hear when you go to the doctor and they take your cholesterol, they call that a lipid panel, which is what that means, how much fat is in your blood. So
they're also called essential fatty acids.
Yes. So the fats in our body, they're made up of these three different things that combine together, and that's where you get the word triglyceride. Yes. So, and you get most of your fats by eating them. And the reason we have essential ones is because our body doesn't make them. We have to eat them. And these are things like omega-3s, omega-6s, omega-7, omega-9. There's several essential fatty acids that you have to eat to get your body to make them.
And when they say essential, there's only two macronutrients that are essential. It means you can't live. She's saying you don't have them, you have to add them, but you can't live without them. Did you know you cannot live without fats
or proteins? But you can live without carbs.
You can live without carbs.
You can live without carbs. There is no essential carb.
And fats are, fats have taken a really bad rap since about 1977 when the Ansel Keys reports came out, and fat was assigned the bad boy reputation. But in all actuality, they are a huge part of how our body functions, and they are very agreeable in our brain. And our brain is 60% fat, just in case you didn't know.
Just in case, yeah. Because the idea behind ketones is that is brain food. That is what fuels your brain. So you make them anyway, and on a ketogenic lifestyle journey, you make a lot of it. So you're getting a lot of brain food, which is very good for your mental clarity and other things. But there's so many things about fats. There's several kinds of fats. For example, you can break them down. There are unsaturated fats, which mostly come from plant foods, some fish, but mostly they're plant oriented. Then you have the saturated fats, which get the really, really bad rap.
They're really bad.
That's what comes from animal protein, animal fats, which is like eggs, butter, cheese,
cream.
Yeah, cream, all those fun things.
Dairy.
Yeah.
Moo.
So, and then we have the actual bad boy, which are called trans fats. These fats are man-made. That should tell you right there that they're
manufactured.
Bad. Yes, they're called hydrogenated oils.
They're made in a factory.
Yeah, they're ugly, and they will clog your arteries in a heartbeat. So they are the bad boys. If you want to know who the true bad boy is, it's the trans fats.
Name a popular trans fat.
Crisco.
Oh, we grew up having grandma's Crisco biscuits.
Yeah, as that's what they call partially hydrogenated vegetable oil.
I can't believe it's butter. Margarine.
That's pretty much plastic, right? You got nasty stuff.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah, it's made in
half of my life I've eaten plastic.
It's made in a lab. It's like frankenfood. Yeah. So what do healthy fats, good fats? Let's talk about some of those that we use on the ketogenic lifestyle. Things like avocados, avocado oil, olive oil, olives, even butter and cream and sour cream, all those things that have those yummy fats. Yeah, nuts.
Macadamia nuts have the highest fat content.
Yes, and then also Brazil nuts are another favorite. They have a really good fat content, but they have low carbs. So because some nuts do have some carbs in them, like for example, almonds are also a very good nut on the ketogenic lifestyle, but they have more carbs in them than others. And not that you can't eat them; it's just that they have more carb content. So you have to be aware. You have to read labels.
One of the big things that fats do, one of the big things, and why keto is so popular and why it is being used for diabetics and obesity, and why it's on the mainstream right now, is when you eat a carb, your blood sugar goes.
Yeah.
When you eat a protein, your blood sugar goes. And when you eat a fat, your blood sugar goes. It has the least impact on your blood sugar. After 3 days of eating fats as a primary food source, your body will convert over to burning fat as its fuel source because you've starved it of carbs. And that's really all the ketogenic diet is. It puts you in a ketogenic state where you become a fat burner. So that bad fat, that bad butter, those bad nuts you're eating are the first thing that are going to get burned up as you become adapted to burning fats first. Right. That's really what keto adapted is. It's I burn my fat first, not last. Because what really happens in the big world is we eat all these high carb foods and our blood sugar goes up and comes down. The insulin comes out to save our life and it just takes all the fat. It doesn't burn the fat, it stores the fat. But when you convert over to keto, which you've all heard about, what we're really doing is eating a high fat diet that becomes our primary fuel source. So we're eating fuel.
Right.
Tastes good too.
It does. I mean, there are other things that are important for fats. First of all, there are some vitamins that you can't absorb without fat. D, K, A, all those vitamins are what we call fat soluble vitamins, and they don't. Your body can't accept them without fat.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
It also it's good for your skin. It keeps your skin a lot healthier. The omega-3s are good for good for your heart. Those fish oils and things like that were really good. It adds flavor to your food. It makes everything taste good.
Food can be very boring. What if you could be on a diet where you could put butter on your broccoli instead of just the naked steamed broccoli and the naked chicken breast? Yeah. First off, I don't eat chicken breasts anymore. I eat chicken thighs with the skin on, fried in butter. 10 minutes aside, nom nom paleo, thank you very much. It's called crackling chicken.
Yeah.
But it's the first thing that will also be burned off in that meal is the fats that we're cooking. I cooked with the butter and the fat in that skin.
And the other thing too, we talk a lot about satiety, which is how long you feel full. When you eat fats, you feel full longer. That's your satiety. So
satisfied.
Yes, being satisfied and not being hungry. Fat keeps you from being hungry.
Maria Emmerich says something real interesting. She says, in the beginning of a ketogenic approach, you eat a lot of fats so that it can help you detox and break with the sugars. But as you get going, a really good ketogenic diet, a well-formulated Phinney and Volek ketogenic diet, you're going to actually begin to lower your fats as you go along. And they're going to come back down in a healthy range. I would also say at this point, one of the most important things that you need to know about fat, considering we still have 2 more macronutrients, is if you play with keto and you don't stay keto, you will change your blood chemistry for the worse, and you will gain weight because a gram of fat is 9 whatever that
kilocalories. Yes, it's 9 calories per gram. Yes.
Yeah, per gram, and whereas a carb is 4 grams of 4.
Yes, that's
4
right.
calories per gram.
4 calories per gram, and protein is 7.
So fat is fatter.
Yeah,
fat is fatter and high calorie. But it's the first thing that will get used if you're in a ketogenic state.
Yes. So that's the big boy, the fats, which is
the fat.
Yes, which is the biggest part of the keto lifestyle and journey that we're on, and it's important to know what it is and why you're doing it that way. So we're going to go on to the next one, which is proteins.
Protein, the building block.
Yes, everybody pretty much knows. They've heard the word protein. They know it comes from like meat and other. But here's the scientific definition, and that, you know, this is
essential.
You know, this is, if you're not over 40, you probably don't know that that's a Charlie Brown teacher. But so from a nutritional standpoint, they are structures of molecules that come from these things called amino acids, which are linked together with these things called peptide bonds. Isn't that special? So what happens there is yes, essential, but they can combine in about 500 different ways to create all these different kinds of proteins that build different things. Just like she said, it's the building block. So it builds your muscles, it builds your skin, it builds your cells, it builds your brain. So whatever has to be replenished has to be built by something. And that's protein's job, is to build. And so these amino acids, which are essential, again, is you can't live without them and your body can't make them. So you have to eat them.
And if you don't eat them, your body will eat you.
Yeah, and that's not good.
That's called cannibalism.
Yeah, and you really don't want that.
You know, when you age, my mom aged before she died, she aged. And she started losing a lot of weight, and they started drawing her blood regularly. And it went bananas over the one thing, protein. Her protein levels are too low. Her protein. She's not building. She's not building. She needs to eat so she can build. Because our body just rebuilds itself over and over and over. And it uses the protein to do it.
Right. So we talked about essential ones. We have non-essential ones. Now, how are those different? Well, they're ones that your body can make, but they still come from the food that you eat. It's just they're byproducts because they break down and they formulate differently, and then they feed other cells. So that's what the non-essential proteins are that your body makes by itself. And then you have these funny little things called conditional proteins.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. Conditional proteins are special proteins. They're special proteins. If you've had an injury or a surgery or a chronic disease, these are the proteins that your body makes to help you heal. So they're just special proteins that happen sometimes. I just wanted to be clear that there are 3 different types, just like there's different types of fats. There's different
conditional, provisional, educational, sustainable.
So, yes, all those.
Essential. Essential is the word.
Essential, non-essential, and conditional proteins.
So interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's her part. She brings the breaking it down.
So we talked about why, what do proteins do in the body? What exactly do they do? Well, they're used as enzymes, and enzymes are a digestive product. So they help you deal with your metabolism. They help with rebuilding your DNA, which is who you are as a person. That some DNA gets messed up because of something you ate or something you did or some chemical you're exposed to or whatever. So the proteins have to rebuild that. We talked about muscle repair and building blocks and that kind of thing, but there are 4,000 known reactions of proteins in your body.
4,000 known reactions.
So proteins are pretty important.
They're the building block.
But here's the thing. In a ketogenic lifestyle, fats have the highest percentage of what you eat. We talk about moderate protein. What is moderate protein? Moderate protein is around between 20 and 30% of what you eat daily. But what does that mean in my daily meal? That means 3 to 6 ounces of meat per meal. So what is 3 to 6 ounces? This is about 4. Your palm of your hand is about 4. So somewhere in that neighborhood of the palm of your hand is the protein serving that you need per meal to satisfy a ketogenic lifestyle.
That's really good. I think the new Atkins, the new You, has a chart, and it's for your height. It gives you, and it's all between the 12 and the 15 ounces for women, and that's that palm possibly. Yeah, very, very informative. And so far on a ketogenic diet or just looking over a nutrition period, fats are incredibly important because they are essential. You can't live without them. And protein is another essential. So fats are called essential fatty acids, and protein are called essential amino acids. And then there's that That third little troublemaker.
Yes.
The troublemaker in the trio.
The carbohydrate, or carbs as we call them for short.
We go to the local hospital and we do nutritional talks as personal trainers because we can't put you on a diet, we can't diagnose or treat, but we can encourage and we can coach. And when we get to that point in the talk about the macronutrients, about carbohydrates not being essential,
right?
Nurses like, what? Get out of here. And then they go back to their textbooks. They go back to that little tiny section they learned on nutrition, and they find out that carbs, which are the centerpiece of our lives, are not essential.
They're not essential, and they're
not needed. Our body doesn't need them to survive.
And they really wreak havoc in one's body.
Yeah.
So what is a carb anyway? So the Charlie Brown teacher definition is compounds that occur in foods that have sugars, starches, and cellulose. What in the world is cellulose? Well, you know what? It's fiber. But you know what else it is? It's paper. Cellulose is one of the main ingredients in paper. Paper.
No wonder it's white.
And also, the other thing about it is they contain hydrogen and oxygen in the same amount as water, hence the word hydrate. Okay, so what happens with carbs? Carbs, they hold water.
Mm-hmm. That's why there's water weight loss when you lower your carbs, you drop water. Oh, that's just water weight. Yeah, you're holding 6, 7, 10 pounds of water weight on your body. Mm-hmm. So you may actually really do weigh less than you think. You don't feel it because you're carrying around. And that's why in the early days of a ketogenic diet, you're in dehydration because you've removed all that water holding capability.
Right. And see, the other thing about this is that carbohydrates are easily broken down, especially ones that are simple carbs, things like sugar and breads and pasta and all those white carbs we're going to talk about in a minute. Those things break down very quickly. And so they give you energy, which is in the form of glucose, which is why you go,
yep.
Okay. So that's, and they say that you need carbs for energy. Well, they're really not a good energy source because you peak and crash. Yeah. And then you're craving more because your body doesn't have its fuel.
Well, they will always be your number one energy source, and because they are rapidly assimilated. And if you are a rail thin sprinter, you will always use a carbohydrate to bullet yourself across the 100-yard dash. Fat will never, it's not jet fuel. Carbs are a jet fuel, but they are not, they've been so overused in our body that we're not jets, we're cargo flight planes.
Right. And the other thing about that, Jess, is that because they have been so processed and man has put their stuff in it, and there's all these chemicals and other things in there besides just the main wheat source or whatever the carb source is, that it's just that much more dangerous to us. It works that much faster, and it gives you this insulin response that your body can't control.
That's true.
So
name a carb.
Well, we're going to talk about white carbs versus green carbs. Like carbs, here we go with the carb. Things like bread. Mm-hmm.
How about lettuce?
Yeah, pasta.
How about an apple?
Rice.
How about asparagus?
Potatoes.
How about a banana?
I lost her. How about cookies?
How about an artichoke? All of these are carbs.
Yes.
Every one of them. People don't realize vegetables are carbs, and they think, oh, I love salads. I could never go low carb. But salads are the low carbs. The fresh whole vegetables are the lower end of the carbs. The berries are the lowest end of the fruits. And fruit's a mess these days, so be careful.
Yeah, so think about green carbs for a second, as opposed to all those white carbs we talked about, the bread, pasta, rice stuff. Think about that green carbs are carbohydrates that grow above the ground and are for the most part green.
Yeah.
Yeah, the caveat to that would be something like cauliflower, which is, because it's white but has green leaves around it or whatever, but it's white. Cauliflower is awesome. So some of those, you still have to look them up. Some things that grow below ground, like onions, for example, they have like 7 carbs per gram or whatever. So they're in the higher set. So you have to be careful. I think it's per 30 grams or something like that. But you have to look. You have to learn which ones are. But pretty much, if it grows above the ground and it's green, and man has not touched it,
right,
you're good.
You're good to eat it, but it still has to be managed in a limited quantity. Oh, look who's here. We're having a meeting shortly.
Yes.
So they're more than welcome to join us, but they're scared, so they're not coming in. And I'm so excited who's here because I forgot who we invited.
Yes.
This is going to be the best day ever.
So we've talked about fats.
We have talked about fats.
We talked about proteins.
We've talked about proteins.
We talked about carbs.
We have talked about carbs.
Oh my.
Oh my. Lions and tigers and bears.
There we go. So we wanted to break those down so that people knew exactly what you were eating, why you're eating them, and what a ketogenic lifestyle will do for you, and the reason that we eat the way we eat.
Yeah. So, and people are like, well, okay, well, what do you eat? Well, I eat ribeye steaks, and that's a protein and a fat.
Yes.
I like eggs. That's a protein and a fat.
Mm-hmm.
I do enjoy my vegetables, and I
Yes.
put real butter on them.
Yes.
I just limit how much I eat in a day.
Right.
Because, you eat that lettuce, it's going to go right through you, and you're going to be hungry. But you eat the ribeye, and you'll go hours.
Yes.
There's a great book called Body Love by Kelly LeVeque, and in it she says that those fats help us control the hunger hormones.
Yes.
And what we don't want to do is to raise up and stir up the hunger hormones. And fat brings us satiety.
Right.
And it quiets the body so that you can work on the mind.
Absolutely.
And if you go have a cookie, I guarantee you in 10 minutes, you're thinking about that next cookie. And then in 10 minutes, you're starting to tell yourself all the reasons why you can't have that cookie. And in 20 minutes, you're already out there checking to see if there's any cookies left. Mm-hmm. And then in 30 minutes, you're mad at the person who took the last cookie because you really wanted it for yourself. I can't eat cookies.
Can't do it either.
Those are the carbs that are controlling. And if you know my story, I removed them and got my control back.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm Jess.
I'm Kim.
This is Everyday Understanding.
Breaking it down.
And making it simple. We'll be back with another episode on something important for you to know.
Absolutely. Have a great day.